Hello and welcome back to Cupid, a free-to-play visual novel. Because it has been a while, more than a year, that I last played this game, I wanted to give a quick recap what happened until now. On one hand for myself, but also for you guys. So if you watched the first few videos a long time ago, here's a little update for you. So what happened until now? The story takes place in France in the 18th century, as we learn later. So a girl in rags, that's us, shows up in a church with a wounded leg. A priest treats the wound, and she tells him she got raped and afterwards beaten and injured by the women who thought she seduced their boyfriends or husbands. She looks very young and beautiful, and even the old priest has to contain himself in her presence. She thinks she has only herself to blame for all that happens to her, and begs God to forgive her. Mother commands her to leave the church. She's not safe from the priest. Mother blames her for all that has happened to her. She gouges her left eye out with a cross from the altar as a penance for her sins. So much for the prologue. It continues with Chapter 1, The Star and the Rose. The same girl in tattered clothes shows up at the Château du Sommeil, where a party is held in the garden, with rich people from high society. Mother tells her to leave, but she stays. She wants to take a glance of the owner, the Marquis de Guilt. He gives her food when she delivers flowers. Mother says he's self-centered like everyone else. Rich ladies mock her, and Mother won't help her. Then a 7-year-old girl shows up and snatches the sugary bread from one of the ladies and shares it with the girl. They talk about the Marquis. Apparently he's a foreigner from Persia or India or Greece, it's not clear. Then Julim, the Marquis de Guilt, shows up himself and threatens to throw the 3 mean ladies out, who weren't invited anyways. The little girl, Catherine, is a piano prodigy who gives a concert in the afternoon. The girl has mixed feelings about the Marquis, fear and elation. He speaks to her. Catherine gives her the name Rosa, so we are Rosa now. And she gets invited to the concert and the party. Later, there's a scene where the concert takes place. Catherine plays the piano, and everybody, including Rosa, is impressed. She plays beautiful. Julim talks to Catherine's father and becomes her sponsor, you could say patron. He gives her the pianoforte. But only under the condition that she has lessons at his house. He says that music lightens up his mood. Catherine's older sister Emily shows up. The Marquis is mysterious, and Emily is not interested in him, although he's good looking. He is said to be a shameless flirt and seduces women and men. Emily thinks he's normal and uninteresting. But then she starts to fall for him as he speaks of his loneliness that is only comforted by music. Catherine and Rosa join them. Catherine tries to convince her father to give Rosa a new home, but the Marquis proposes to take her into his household. Rosa says that her mother died a long time ago and agrees to live with and work for the Marquis. And then there's a cut to some years later. Catherine hung herself. Chapter 2, La Piqûre, which means as much as the sting or the stab. Mother tells Rosa that all friends will abandon her sooner or later, like Catherine did. Mother is glad that Rosa came back to her now. Julim comforts Rosa after she witnessed Catherine's suicide. Mother wants to convince Rosa that Julim is somehow responsible for Catherine's death. The friendship between Catherine and Julim changed into coldness before she died. Perhaps Julim had simply gotten tired of her? Catherine was psychotic apparently, before her death. Julim cared for her until the end. Julim says he'll always be there for Rosa. Mother accuses Rosa that she didn't care for Catherine and was glad when her mother died. Rosa cries, and Julim comforts her, but she rejects him and says that Catherine was afraid of him in her last days. She tells him he did something to her. Mother seems to speak out of her. He embraces Rosa and lets her cry and accuse him. They mourn together. He begs her not to leave his mansion, and he says that he'll take care of her. Rosa mourns for 2 more days, and then she takes action. Mother tells her that she can either have justice or retribution. And as I didn't understand the word retribution, I thought, yeah, it sounds better, but actually it wasn't the better option, in hindsight. So Rosa practices magic, which apparently she's capable of. We didn't know that until now. She casts a guilt spell on Jaleem. She wants to know if he feels guilt. Mother had taught her magic and guided her now. She finds no guilt in him. She finds actually nothing. Did the spell work? Someone works magic on her and lets metal needles appear inside her, and she vomits them out. Rosa questions Jaleem's real identity. Then there's chapter 3, Portress, Candlelit. There's a flashback. Rosa spends time with Catherine. Catherine is in a bad mood. She's a teenager now, around 16. She composes sad songs. Catherine is annoyed about Julie making out in front of her with her sister, Emily. Rosa cheers Catherine up. But Catherine is annoyed. Emily is already married, but has only eyes for Jaleem, and doesn't care for her family and father anymore. Catherine also regrets that Jaleem doesn't spend time with her and Rosa anymore. They chat and make plans for the future. Then Emily enters and wants to speak to Catherine. She looks old and exhausted, like the life has been drained out of her. Rosa leaves the room. And this is where the story continues. So have fun watching the next episodes of this Let's Play.